We assume our seats across the desk from each other, me in the shorter leather chair with a notepad in my hand and him in his raised, crushed Corinthian leathered high back. "Tell me," he asks, "how's Carl doing?" "How's he doing? He's doing nothing at the moment. In fact, he's done nothing in 8 years. Perhaps you should go see for yourself, is what I'm thinking." I say, simply, "He's hanging in there." "Good." He shakes his head. "I can't imagine what goes through a man's mind in a time like this." "Plenty, I assure you. His thoughts are all he has." "What has he shared with you?" I'm typically quite guarded with information my client has shared, but given the impossible timetable and the looming stench of impending death, I throw caution to the wind. He's still convinced that Elizabeth and Curtis are responsible for Virginia's death. I suppose more than ever. "I would expect as much." He continues to deny the existence of additional offshore funds. He believes that the prosecution's main motive was nothing more than a courtroom tactic. Jonathan nods. I wait for some sort of explanation that doesn't come, so I prod him along. Why would he hold on to that position even after you've found it to be a lie? "Hard to say why Carl Dutton does many things, Will. Please don't see this as a betrayal of my client, but there's a simple truth you need to know. Carl Dutton would lie about the color of the sky if he thought he would gain something from it. You know that as well as anyone. And furthermore, he's good at it. I can tell a ruse when I see one." Jonathan raises his hand. "I meant no offense, but in fairness, you've only known Carl for a short while. It took the rest of us a year or more to see through him. Nonetheless, I'd like to see documentation supporting the existence of offshore funds, validated documentation, something with the stamp of a certified CPA. I just need to cross the T's and dot the I's." "I'll see to it that you have access to those." "Thank you. Whatever you need, Will." There's a hint of derision in his tone. I take a deep breath and shift gears. "There's a couple of matters that trouble me. Maybe you can help clear them up." "Shoot." "Why did you pursue the suicide angle so heavy in court?" I ask bluntly. "It seems from the transcripts that David had our prime suspects on the ropes. Why introduce a second possible explanation to the jury?" I expect the explanation Richard provided me. Provide me as much reasonable doubt to the jury as possible to see what sticks. But that's not what I get. "In hindsight, it may have been a fatal mistake," he says flatly. My look of surprise is not missed by Jonathan. "I've lived with that for 8 years. "And you dismissed the possibility of suicide?" "Oh, no, not at all. In fact, I still contend that it's a real possibility. What I regret is the message it sent to the jury. It made it appear our allegations against Curtis and Elizabeth were nothing more than diversions." "So if you believe Virginia may have taken her own life, it means you were willing to allow for Curtis and Elizabeth to take the fall for something they didn't do?" My question is leading and argumentative. He knows it. He gives me a stern look. His tone matches it. "They weren't on trial, Will. All that accusation could do was create the possibility that Carl was not the only one with motive. The jury couldn't convict Curtis and Elizabeth. You know that. Then why weren't charges brought against them in a separate trial?" Jonathan takes great exception to this. He draws his words out slowly. "As I stated in our initial meeting, we conducted follow-up investigations for years, all at our own expense. There simply wasn't enough concrete evidence to warrant a new trial." "So you think they're innocent?" Jonathan removes his glasses and leans back in his chair. "I think our client is innocent. Who or what killed Virginia Crowley is a mystery that may never be solved. Where are you headed with all this, Will?"
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.